What's up, people? Sorry, gotta adjust the mic here a little bit. It's directly in front of my face, so I can't see the screen. Okay, I'm back. Sorta. I forgot I was going to start this. The first thing I was going to say was, Eureka! I've done it. Or, because we've done it, yes, finally. Man, this was a pain in the butt that we've been working on for a while. Around here. On my screen, you see, on the screen over there, you see my console window. That's not part of the panel system. The set of features used to control the layout on the channel via the bot remotely from the chat. Yes, that's right. You change the layout of the stream from your chat interface without having to go to any other interface. This is really my original plan all along with this bot because, you know, as I've said before elsewhere, I'm a solo performer, and I do a live stream, and I like to have lots of, you know, like I wanted to have different camera angles and move things around and have things change live during the show and stuff like that. And you know, with just one person, yeah, it's you're gonna need some help. So I started writing the bot about a year ago, actually maybe a little more than a year ago. Anyways, that's a code window over on the right. That's not part of the panel system, but the rest of it, as you may or may not know, is all part of the panel system. Let me see if I can, yeah, I can put this stuff on the screen. So like if you just type panel, that should show up on the screen. Yeah, if you just type panel in the chat, like as is shown on the screen there, then it'll give you some instructions or whatever. And you don't see the reply on the screen, but I'll read it to you. So this is what you would see if you typed it in chat. You would see adjust, it explains itself. It says it adjusts the on-screen panels in positions UL, that's for upper left, UR, LL, LR, and center. And it gives you a couple of example commands because there are many, you know, variety of subcommands that go underneath that to control the panel layout. So it gives you a couple of pointers. Basically, generally in the bot, if you like type one of these things, I mean, it's pretty harmless. So just put it in chat and see what it does. That's the best way to figure out how the bot, to learn how the bot works. Anyways. Okay, so over there you see, oh, and it broke since the last time I tested it. I know what's going on now. But you'll see there were these little indicators. They're not very pretty. I'm going to work on those, actually. It's one of the things I need to work on in this session. So you'll see that they're placed in 5 positions. The upper left, the upper right, the lower left, and the lower right, and as well as an additional one that's in the center of the screen. So these, in the parlance of the bot, are referred to as panels. Sorry, I had to adjust the mic. And anyway, so that's how I control what's on the screen and when. So for instance, right now, at the moment, like if I type panel center, it'll tell me that the center is currently set to smash, and smash is a thing that smashes GIFs, animated GIFs, actually. So, and you're like, well, what else can I do? Well, it says you can type panel list, and it will tell you a list of things that you can put in panels. So panels aren't just static content. They return HTML, which can include CSS and even JavaScript. And so it is the intent that site administrators, i.e. users of the bot, would make their own panels. And so it's all designed with that in mind. So for instance, if you want to take a panel off, you can use the none panel. So think of that as a panel. So you type like panel center none, and that clears that. This, by the way, is not the Eureka moment to which I've been referring. And it wasn't even so much Eureka. I think Eureka is a thing when you're doing, like, you're trying to figure out how to turn, you know, brass into gold or whatever, and then you stumble across it. It's instant solution or whatever, but that wasn't, this actually wasn't Eureka. No, the Eureka in this case is the remote camera actually over there. So there's been a remote camera on here for a while, and you'll see it there, and it does disappear momentarily. I gotta fix that too. That's the next thing I gotta do. Maybe I'll do that first. Yeah, so there's been a remote camera here for a while, a couple of different views, but it's kind of inconvenient because it was composited, that is to say it was layered into the video stream by OPS off the Raspberry Pi, and that was a problem for me for a couple of reasons. One, the long-term, oh, I can do something about this. Hold on a second. I can do panel, center, diagram, because I have a panel called diagram that just shows this cheesy, there we go, this cheesy diagram. Hold on just for a second. Panel lower left, none, LL. So I've set the LL panel to none. I also think I'm going to give them aliases like they may also be called panels 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 or something. I don't know. So you have an alternate way to refer to them, or maybe even lower left if you're talking. So just an aside, one of the things I've done is I tend to have more than one version of the same command. So like background, I think you can type background. Let me see. No. Sorry. Well, anyways, there are several different versions of I think panel and panels are the same thing, for instance. Yeah, they're the same thing. And this is, some of this is because it's more convenient if you're typing it to do it one way, like with a single character symbol, whereas if you're talking to your, speech recognition software on your mobile device, which I have done, it actually works, then it's better if the command, rather than being a symbol, is a full English word. And this is probably the single biggest reason that commands in this bot do not begin with some special symbol, because it is going to become very, very inconvenient and tedious and error-prone to keep saying to your Android or iPhone device or whatever, to keep saying exclamation point, space, and then your command or whatever. So most commands are long English words or long English phrases that have like smaller version counterparts, like BG for background or whatever. Let's see. So anyways, where was I? Oh, so there's the diagram on the screen there. It ain't pretty. No, it ain't pretty. I have to get in the chat because I can't even tell if someone was chatting. I wouldn't know. So, no, I just made that when I was like insomnia, code binge, which is pretty much the whole story of my life. My whole life. That's all I've done the whole time. It's just stay up super late and write code. I don't even know why. I just love it. It's so fun. It's probably the best thing to do with computers. Like if you asked me what my favorite computer game was, I think I'd say Linux. It's so fun. Let's see. I have a mobile device here, and I'm like getting in there so that I can use the chat interface to do commands, and I can't because it's really slow and stupid. Anyways, so that's the basic idea. So I do panel center none, and it erases the center panel. And for instance, there's like I'll do panel list again to see what panels are available, because even I can't remember, and they'll change over time, because you can add your own. Yes, that's true. So panel upper left status. There's one called status, and it just shows like how the system is, and details about the system. Oh, actually I'll put it in the other one. Panel upper left none. Panel lower left status. And the reason there's two is because the system has its own text areas, and it's using that for that extra stuff there for the commands that I'm typing in, so you can see them. On the status thing, it shows For instance, one thing there, it shows the message queue, and this is the Ajax conduit command queue, basically. So it says 6 right now at the time that I'm watching. Y'all think I should turn down the drone sound? Yeah. Alright. That'll basically make it quieter. Yeah, so now it says 3. So there's this, there's a queue, as you saw in that diagram. Let me see if I can put that up again. Oh, it's actually a diagram. Yeah, so this is all my intent, is to be able to change my layout on the fly, even put users in charge of the layout and have the layout change like programmatically, so I can do visual effects like animations and crap like that, which you can see I already can do. So so yeah, there's a message queue, and basically these commands more or less either put messages in the queue or they run other tools that generate messages that go into the queue. And the queue is just a directory with files in it, each of them independent messages from wherever they come from, various parts of the system. Hold on, I'm going to turn down the drone sound a bit. It's funny, at first all I did was turn down my own headphones. Anyways, yeah, let's see, right, okay. That diagram's really distracting. Okay, so the Ajax, there's an Ajax poller on the page, which is being streamed to the YouTubes, and it's polling the server, which in this case is the Raspberry Pi. It's polling the Raspberry Pis via CGI or via Ajax, and the tools return the most appropriate. Basically, its next instruction says, here, this is what you should do next. And then there's like this whole like pseudo internal language for changing things like CSS and HTML and adding objects and manipulating objects in three.js and so much more, actually, too much, actually. So I was talking about the breakthrough. The breakthrough was the webcam. As I said before, there has been a webcam, a panel upper left webcam. Okay. There has been a remote control webcam. You can control it with the cam command. There has been for some time. It's actually one of the oldest features of all of my streams. With the cam command, it changes the position of the remote control camera, which is weird. I know it's confusing because people will be like, they think the camera changes the camera in the 3D mode or whatever, but no, it doesn't do that. It changes the real camera. So there, using the cam command, you can move it. Now you see it's like reloading. It's not refreshing. The page is not refreshing. That's not what's happening. But it is reloading that because it doesn't know not to. So that's like probably the first thing I'm going to do. That and change the styling, as you can see. Need some standard tweaks for that, all that. So the breakthrough was, it used to be composited in OBS, and that, as I said, was a real problem. For one, the whole system needs to be controlled from the one interface. This is my initial, design proposition in this entire project. Is that, pardon me, you're a stream producer, you're a stream performer or whatever. You already have enough crap going on. A bunch of people are running, like a lot of musicians would be running a DAW or something like that. I don't do that. All my stuff is analog and lo-fi. But, so I don't need a DAW, but I already got enough crap going on. You got a chat to deal with, an audience to deal with, to entertain. You got your own gear here, you got microphones, you got video stuff, you got to monitor the stream on your, whatever your streaming software is. It's there's a lot going on. And I wanted to have really dynamic shows and stuff, and also 24/7 shows, unattended shows, automated shows. And I just couldn't, there was none of the bots. I mean, you have to go to a thing, and they don't have these kinds of features. Obviously, this is way beyond what any of the other bots are doing. So I wrote the bot, and here we go. So, you know, yes, you can include, you can, you know, access a webcam with HTML5 and user media. Just look up HTML5 user media if you want to know more about that. And you can put that in your page and then manipulate it via the conduit, as I said, as I'm doing everything else. Let's reset the screen just for the hell of it. You'll see what this is really all about. So I'm in the 3D Sandbox mode, so it's going to reset. We're going to be back all the way in 3D Sandbox, and we can we'll run terrain to generate some stuff to look at. But you know, the panel system is all still there and updates itself at a configurable rate, of course. I'm going to make that mechanism a bit smarter in a couple of different dimensions. Yeah, so you can do that, but there are issues, right? So there was like a whole slew of issues, and it took me quite some time to find the most appropriate solution, but I think we finally got it. So the eureka here, the big win, is that I now can finally control webcams from the chat and position them and move them and all that kind of stuff, and not have to go back to OBS. That's how all of these end. All of these efforts to improve the bot, they always end with and not go back to OBS. Ultimately, honestly, the ultimate goal is to be done with OBS completely. Yes, we hate OBS. OBS, you are a piece of crap, and you know it too, actually. And I mean, I appreciate that you're free. That's great, you know. But you know, what if somebody gave you an Ebola sandwich for free? You know, I mean, I understand it's free. Thanks. I'm not gonna say it's not worth what I paid for it. It is precisely worth what I paid for it. OBS is precisely worth what it costs. So on the webcam, incidentally, what you see, I don't even know, because it's on the other side of the room. It kind of fell over, so I got to reposition it. But that's not like fake colors. That's my real world lab. So obviously the rest of my life doesn't look like this, but this is where the art and the invention and crap like that goes on. So first up, I got to go in the kitchen, restart somebody's dinner that the timer just ran out on. I get some more coffee. Then immediately I got to start styling that webcam thing, okay? Because it's just bugging me. Everybody, you know, obviously we hate that. The other thing is, this isn't just for the webcam, because I needed to write this already. Is what's happening is the server-side process is going through and occasionally, you know, periodically reading the configuration that we've said about what content should be in what panels. The content is actually the name of a script which generates HTML and CSS and sometimes JavaScript content if you so choose, or references to onboard or offboard content via embeds or whatever. It goes through, reads the configurations for all the 5 panels periodically, and executes each of those processes that it's been instructed to do for each panel, puts that content into the resulting content into the designated panel, i.e. upper left, you know, lower left, center, etc. And then does it, you know, again periodically. That's, I mean, obviously good for a start, but it needs to be smarter. For starters, it should not update the content unless the content has changed. Also, it should, there was something else it had to do, and I'll remember once we get started working on it. So, what is the code responsible for that? Well, here's the code responsible for the webcam. So this is actually the panel. Yeah, this is the panel. I'll show you how this works, actually. Okay, so in the mod sandbox directory, this is new, by the way. If you've ever seen the old version of the bot, this is all way new. But in the directory mod sandbox panels, there are some executable files, and they're meant to be added to and customized by site admins, i.e. bot owners. So that's intentional. So I don't know how many are going to be in here. But one of them is called webcam. Yeah. And there you see, it is using the file command, the Unix file command, you can find out what kind of file it is. It says it says more expertly than do I that it is a POSIX shell script ASCII text executable. There are actually a variety of file types in there intentionally. That is because I want to, these are basically sample files. I want to indicate to people, how they can write it in whatever language. You can write it in shell, write it in Python, Perl, whatever, modifications to the bot without having to modify the bot itself. So let's see. Okay, so here it is over on the other side of the screen. I'm going to clear this so that it's not distracting. My little screen over here. Sorry, that's the best I can show you. And it's what? It's about 26 lines with comments. Not much. Real simple, straightforward Unix-ish shell script. What is it using? What am I using? An iframe. Yeah, because those are very convenient. But I might get rid of that anyways. But anyways, uses an iframe. It is as your typical Unix shell script stuff. Sets up some variables to make it easy to configure things. Does it get any content from out of here? No, it doesn't. Some panel scripts are a bit more complex and have logic or whatever going on. And then let's see, it prepares the syntax and then it echoes that. It responds with that. So, for instance, when we run it like this, you'll see over here what it responds with. It responds with a brief snippet of HTML that can include styling or whatever else that refers actually to an onboard webcam, pre-made webcam HTML thing. But the styling's in here. That's the cool part. Everything's in here. The webcam thing just has the references and the JavaScript set up for that. So the issue getting this to work was Google. Incidentally, I'm pretty critical of Google too. You guys, in my opinion, I think a lot more of yourselves than is warranted. But yeah, they broke spec basically, and so they made it extremely difficult to access a webcam repeatedly, programmatically, without user interaction, and without using SSL. Even though there's nothing in the spec in which the engineers indicated that is how it should be done, but that is what they decided to do. And so, anyways, very peeved about that. It did work in Firefox like a week ago, but I have other things that won't work for me in Firefox because I'm using three.js and some other stuff too, and I need OpenGL support or WebGL support, anyway, and some shader support that Firefox doesn't have. It's crazy. So that's what I'm going to do. Probably put some music on if I can get some to go. It's hard to, it doesn't always work. I think we're going to be hearing a string quartet with clarinet, who knows. And then when I come back, I'm going to work on that, on the styling first, and then on the update thing. And I might talk some more about the code, and I think in the title, another command is title. So you can change the title from your chat, that's right. Or you could let your user change title, or designated users change titles, whatever. You get where this is all going. I don't want to go back to the interfaces. I don't want to go back to the bot interface. I don't want to go back to the rear end, or back end, sorry. I don't want to go back to the back end. And definitely don't want to go back to the rear end. And I don't want to go to like OBS or anything like that, like while I'm streaming. While I'm live and I'm streaming, I need to be able to do everything from the chat, because I have to be in the chat anyways. That's the one place I can be guaranteed the performer is going to be, because you need to attend to the audience. So you're going to be in chat anyways. So the intent is to be able to do everything from there, and possibly even delegate some of those things to processes that you make yourself, or even to people like mods or assistants, stagehands, so to speak. So anyways, that's the plan. if you're tuned in, now we're on the replay, thanks for doing so. And type shout out and you'll get your name on the screen. I won't do it because I don't want to be on the screen. And then stick around for a few minutes, and when we do those things, we're gonna get started on some geeky stuff, because that wasn't geeky enough. Thanks for tuning in.